Hi guys, my name is Alex, expert in real estate here at Inside, and today we're going to be discussing an interesting topic of selecting property for living versus for investment. Recently, I had a client who is flying in to look at properties to live in with his family, also ask whether those would be the same types of areas that will be great for investment. And it turns out the answer is not obvious. In some cases, yes, and in others, completely different areas of Dubai and the UAE would be suitable. So I thought we would discuss this in today's video to give you guys more clarity and confidence in investing in the UAE. Now, when it comes to living, certainly there are areas like Dubai Marina and Business Bay and downtown that are often discussed. However, there are some nuances, and personally, I don't consider them the best areas for living, simply because there is a lot more chaos, there's a lot more people, tourists. It's kind of like, in some cases, living in Times Square in New York, which those of you who have been to Manhattan know that that's an area that locals tend to avoid. And this is no exception, where I have friends who live in these areas. However, it means there's a lot more, let's say, concrete. There's also a mix of energies from commercial buildings, tourists, as well as residents. And if you like that kind of lifestyle, these can be great areas. However, today we're going to focus slightly on different areas such as Dubai Hills, Dubai Creek Harbour, Damac Hills, as well as JVC, and why those areas would be good from a living standpoint, as well as for rental. So let's dive in. Dubai Creek Harbour. Obviously, it's on the canal. It's a very new neighborhood. I live there myself. I think it's one of the best areas in Dubai to live. It always has this very calm energy with a lot of families there, and it's not very touristy. It's very pleasant to be in. Dubai Hills Estate, very famous area. It has a beautiful big park, great for jogging, and it has a big mall, also a very nice area. Then JVC has, let's say, very affordable pricing. It has a lot of schools, it has a lot of cafes, and a lot of diversity. So it's also a very interesting area to live in, especially for families. And lastly, Damac Hills. It's where you can get, let's say, accessible townhouses if you value how much area your property has. Also, beautiful space to live. Now, recognize all these areas already have a certain level of existing infrastructure, and it makes sense that that's what you would look for when you're considering a place to live. Now, what do you think? Would those be the best areas from an investment standpoint? Well, let's take a look at the pricing. So when it comes to Dubai Creek and Dubai Hills, a year ago, a one bedroom was roughly $320,000 versus now that same one bedroom from new launches and even on the secondary market will be closer to 400 to 460,000 US. JVC a year ago, a one bedroom was closer to 175K US versus now it's closer to 230 to 300. 175K now buys you a studio in JVC. Same in Damac Hills. A year ago, it was roughly 2.1 million dirham or about 600,000. Now it's closer to 730, 740K US. And in Damac Hills, a townhome about a year ago was roughly 570,000 US versus now it's closer to 640, 650,000. So you can see that the investment potential for these areas in the last even just year already diminished. And if you're considering investing there, there might be other good areas to consider. Where these areas shine, however, is rentals. And so this is the zone of intersection where if you want to buy something to rent out, whether it's right now or a few years from now, these areas will be in high demand. When it comes to investments, let's look at the areas because they will be different. Here, we're focusing on different things. Ideally, it's actually almost the absence of infrastructure because the less developed an area is and the more likely it will be developed, then the more prices will go up. So what are some areas to consider? One is Ras Al Khaimah, where we already talked about this in prior videos, where the Wynn is building a new casino, the first casino in the UAE actually, and it's launching in 2027. So right now you can get one bedrooms there for about 1.5 to 2 million dirham, so around 400 to 500,000 US, and villas for around $2 million right on the water. And you can imagine as other developers will continue to build there in the coming 3 years prior to the launch of the casino. And once the casino launches, there will be a few years of market formation that there will be capital appreciation that is quite significant. Similarly, in Dubai, areas like Dubai Maritime City, like Dubai Islands, like Emar South, will be high prospective locations for an investment. And when I say investment, let's also differentiate. There is one type of investment where it will be for shorter term or flipping, where you can resell the property prior to handover. And then there's a more long-term investment where you're holding onto the property for 2, 5, sometimes 10 years. So the areas that I named would be good areas for both of those. However, when it comes to a longer term investment specifically, then we're considering an additional area like the Palm in Jebel Ali, simply because the entire area, the entire Palm, will be developed over the next 10 to 15 years. And so the value of the real estate there will largely depend on the entire infrastructure being built out. So that one is a much longer term hold where prices start at around 18 million dirham or around 5 million US. And so that's another thing to consider. But similarly, Maritime City, Ras Al Khaimah, Emar South will also fall into that category of a longer term investment. So let's summarize. When considering areas to live, like Dubai Creek Harbour, Dubai Hills, JVC, Damac Hills, there are certainly others like the Marina and Business Bay. Recognize that the pricing there has already more or less formed, and it will be much higher than when you are entering into projects in areas not yet developed, so the investment potential is lower, unless we're talking about areas where you want to rent out. And then in that case, those can be great options. However, when we're talking about investments that are either short-term or longer-term, so less than 2 or more than 2 years, you can understand that the areas that we would look at would be a lot more underdeveloped, where there's not an existing infrastructure, that we have confidence it will be built because it's typically built as a master community and there's a master plan in place that gives confidence to investors for what will be there in the next 2 to 5 years. So I hope you guys like this video, that this information gives you more clarity, more confidence in investing here in the UAE, whether it's for yourself to live or as an investment property. Please reach out to us so that we can help you figure out the best properties to invest in for any strategy. My name is Alex, and I'll see you next time.